Welcome to Sci-Fi Tales Adventure Rocket. 4 thrilling sci-fi stories and cosmic adventures. Subscribe now. Belle. She laughed at the slow human until he dodged 12 arrows with his eyes closed. The training arena of the Valari warriors was alive with the thud of arrows hitting wooden posts, the clang of blades clashing, and the deep guttural chants of combat instructors. For the Valari, strength was sacred. Speed was worshipped. Precision was the mark of nobility. And then there was Kale, the human. He stood awkwardly at the far end of the arena, leather boots sinking slightly into the red sand. He was surrounded by towering Valari warriors, each with sleek obsidian skin marked by glowing patterns that pulsed faintly with their heartbeat. They moved like predators, all sharp grace and coiled energy. Kale, by comparison, looked soft, sluggish, and infuriatingly calm. "Why is he here again?" one warrior muttered. "Earthborn, slow-born," another sneered. They weren't quiet about their mockery. Humans were considered fragile across the galactic colonies, slow of body, clumsy of reflex, blind to the flows of energy the Valari moved through instinctively. No one mocked him more than Ceres. She was the captain's daughter, a Valari prodigy. Her arrows could pierce a coin midair. Her laugh, sharp, melodic, cruel, followed Kale everywhere during training. "You move like a stone rolling uphill," she told him one morning, drawing back her bow with ease while he fumbled with a practice blade. "Why does our unit waste breath teaching you? When battle comes, you'll be the first to die. Perhaps that is why you're here, to draw the enemy's pity." Kale had smiled faintly at that, though it didn't reach his eyes. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe I'll surprise you." The laughter that followed echoed through the arena. The challenge. On the 12th day of training, Ceres decided mocking wasn't enough. She wanted to prove before everyone how hopeless the human was. She approached the instructor, bow in hand, and declared loudly, "If he is truly fit to stand among us, let him prove it. Let him face my arrows." A hush rippled through the arena. The Valari respected archery above all arts, and Ceres was their brightest star. Facing her bow was like stepping into the storm. The instructor raised an eyebrow. "And the terms?" 12 arrows, Ceres said, her eyes glinting. "He must dodge them. If even one strikes him, he admits his weakness and leaves our ranks." A chorus of approval rose from the crowd. The human was done for. Kale, however, didn't flinch. He only asked one question. "May I keep my eyes closed?" The arena exploded in laughter. Even the instructor chuckled in disbelief. "You would blind yourself against Ceres? Human, are you eager for death?" Kale shrugged. "I want to make it fair for her." The crowd roared with delight at his arrogance. Ceres's smile sharpened like the edge of a blade. "So be it. Close your eyes, human. When I'm finished, perhaps you'll finally learn silence." The first arrow. Kale stepped into the center of the arena, tilting his head slightly upward. He drew in a deep breath and let his eyelids fall. Around him, the Valari watched with cruel anticipation. Some whispered wagers. Most simply waited for the comedy of his downfall. Ceres knocked her first arrow. The bowstring hummed as she drew it back. She let it fly. The arrow cut through the air with lethal speed. And Kale moved. Not much, a subtle tilt of his head. The arrow grazed a single strand of his hair and buried itself into the post behind him. The crowd gasped. The next 11. Ceres narrowed her eyes. She hadn't missed her mark in years. Perhaps it was chance. She fired again. This time, Kale leaned left a fraction of a second before the arrow reached him. It whistled past his ribs, missing him by inches. The arena grew restless. She fired a third. He ducked. A fourth. He twisted aside. A fifth. He stepped backward, just enough for the arrow to miss his throat. With each shot, Kale's movements were unhurried, almost lazy. His face was tranquil, lips parted in steady breathing. He did not flinch. He did not panic. He simply knew. By the 8th arrow, silence ruled the arena. The mocking laughter had died, replaced by stunned disbelief. By the 11th, some Valari were leaning forward, eyes wide, as if watching something impossible unravel before them. Finally, Ceres loosed her 12th arrow, putting all her pride and fury into the shot. It blazed through the air faster than lightning. Kale simply leaned aside. The arrow missed his ear by a whisper. 12 arrows. None touched him. The silence after. For a long moment, no one breathed. The arena was frozen, every warrior struggling to comprehend what they had witnessed. Then Kale opened his eyes. Calm, steady, unshaken. "Are we done?" he asked. The murmurs began. "How impossible! Did you see?" Ceres's face burned. Her pride, her identity as the sharpest shot of her generation, had been pierced more deeply than any target. She strode up to him, fists clenched, fury radiating from her. "You cheated," she hissed. "You must have." Kale only shook his head. "I listened." "What?" "The arrows," he said softly. "They sing when they fly. The bowstring snaps, the air bends, the feathers whisper. If you breathe and you listen, the world tells you everything. You Valari move too fast to notice. But slow humans, we're forced to notice the little things." He glanced at the embedded arrows around the arena. "Speed isn't everything. The lesson." The instructor finally spoke, voice deep with respect. "No deception. No trick. He simply used what the rest of us ignore. The human has passed your trial, Ceres." The declaration carried weight. Whispers turned into grudging admiration. Even those who had mocked him looked at Kale differently now. Ceres, however, could not meet his eyes. She turned on her heel and stalked away, but her pride had been shaken in a way she could not ignore. Days later, the arena was quieter when Ceres found him again. Kale was sitting alone, polishing a battered practice blade. "You humiliated me," she said simply. Kale looked up. His expression wasn't smug, wasn't triumphant, just calm. "I didn't mean to." She folded her arms. "You could have boasted. Mocked me as I mocked you. But you didn't." "Why?" "Because," Kale said, sheathing the blade, "we're supposed to be on the same side." Ceres stared at him for a long time, and for the first time since they'd met, she didn't laugh. Instead, she sat beside him. "You'll have to teach me," she said at last. Kale smiled faintly. "With your speed and my listening, maybe we'll both surprise them." Epilogue. In the years to come, the story of the human who dodged 12 arrows with his eyes closed would become legend among the Valari. Some told it as proof of human cunning, others as a lesson in humility for the proud. But for Ceres, it was something else entirely. It was the day she stopped laughing and started listening.